We all know what animation is. So this video speaks about the 12 principles of animation which are given to us by Disney. So the principle goes as follows, as you can see. Let us look at them one by one. The first principle is called as squash and stretch. What does it basically mean? Squash and stretch says that if a ball is hitting the ground, the ball is going to be squashed. The ball is going to become a little bit flatter. And when the ball bounces back in the air, it is going to stretch. So now this animation is going to make a ball flatter, that is squashing when it hits the ground. So on the impact it will squash, and then as it goes up in the air it will stretch. Now when any object squashes or stretches, it does it based on the type of the material, the weight of the object. So the principles of physics will come into picture over here. If it is a rubber ball, then the squashing and stretching will be more as compared to the metal ball. Now, while doing this, it is mandatory that the object maintain its volume. So, the purpose of this animation is to deform the objects, to distort the objects during motion, but while maintaining the volume, and it also gives you the sense of the weight or the flexibility of the object. So, in addition to adding the fluidity or realism to the bouncing object, you have to make sure that you are keeping the volume consistent while using this principle. So the very first principle, very simple principle. Now we go to our second principle, which is called as anticipation. Now anticipation, as the word says, is preparation for the main action. So in animation, any action that occurs is divided into three parts. The first part is the setup, which is nothing but the anticipation. Then the actual action takes place, and then after the actual action there is a follow through of the action. So setting up for the action, that is anticipation, the actual action is taking place, and then there is a follow through of the action. Now this first part, which we call as anticipation, is usually to prepare the audience for the action, and it will make the action look more realistic. So what can be, what can be the examples of this anticipation? Before jumping, the person is going to bend the legs. Or just imagine, when the person has to start running, what kind of stance the person takes. The body will move little bit forward. The legs will bend. So this kind of actions shows that, now the person is about to run. So that is an anticipation action. So a player who is striking a ball would be the main action. So वो leg bend करेगा, that is a anticipation action. Actually striking the ball is a main action. And then there will be a follow through of the leg. The leg will not immediately stop. Okay. Now, why do we need anticipation? Because we want to attract the attention of our audience before any main event or the main action happens on the screen. That is the reason we need anticipation. So suppose I am animating a rotating object. So you make a slight rotation in an opposite direction, and then you make a rotation in the forward. So the slight rotation in the opposite direction before the complete rotation in the forward direction is nothing but the anticipation for the main action. Now, along with anticipation, we slowly go to our next principle, which is called as staging. What is staging? Staging talks about where do you place your camera, how are the actors going to move on your screen, आपको मेन एक्शन ऑडियंस को बहुत अच्छे से कन्वे करना है. सो इफ द स्टेजिंग इज नॉट प्रॉपर, द स्टेजिंग इज नॉट करेक्ट, then the idea will not be conveyed to your audience. So, the face of the actor should be towards the audience, so the audience can see the actions, they can see the expressions of the person. So, placement of character, the use of light, the use of shadow, the angle and the position of the camera. The main aim over here is, wherever the main action is happening, wherever the primary action is happening, the focus should be on that action, and any unnecessary details that are going on in and around should be avoided. So that is the main aim of staging. Because क्या होता है, अगर staging अच्छे से नहीं हुआ, there are a lot of things going on the screen and you are confusing the user or you are confusing your audience. Okay, obviously exception is that कि you actually want to show the confusion कि कहीं पे कुछ हुआ है and the people are just running here and there. अगर confusion दिखाना है तो फिर staging अलग से करना पड़ेगा. Then the main action is not there, entire confusion is happening in the scene. Okay, now you need to remember that staging should be done in such a way that your audience's attention is completely towards the main event, the main action that is happening on the screen. You can see how staging affects. You can see the example of poor staging and good staging. In poor staging, the facial expressions of the characters are not directly, they are not facing the audience. So the facial expressions are not visible to the audience. Whereas in good staging, the facial expressions, the hand movements are better visible to the audience. Now we go ahead with our fourth principle, that is straight ahead action and pose to pose. Now these both are the ways of drawing the animation. What is the difference between straight ahead and pose to pose? Straight ahead mein you draw one frame after other as you go along. So for example, I'll draw this frame first, then the second frame, then the third frame, and then my final frame. Now when you are doing this, what happens is, straight ahead is exactly as we do in real life. You animate frame by frame without a plan. So many a times, straight ahead is less planned and therefore it is more fresh and surprising. But many a times, there can be certain miscalculations in straight ahead. Whereas in pose to pose, what we do is, we first draw the starting point, then we draw the ending point, and then we do something which is called as fill in the blanks. So in pose to pose, you first draw the starting frames, the ending frame, and then you fill in the key frames of your animation. Another important thing is, कि in pose to pose you have complete control over the action. Now we go ahead with the next principle that we have is follow through and overlap. Now what happens is, if you consider a person, there are different parts of the person, just such as hair, clothing, flesh. So each of this part is going to have a different speed. So even when a person stops, the hair will not stop at the same time, the clothing will not stop at the same time. So in follow through, the idea is that the different body parts will continue to move even after the motion is completed. So if a character who is wearing a scarf is running and the character stops, the scarf will fly forward past the body and then fall back where the character had stopped. So even if, for example, the cat has stopped moving, the tail will continue moving for some time. Now that is follow through. Follow through says that the different body parts or the clothes or anything like that will continue to move even after the motion is completed. Overlapping action is the idea that the different body parts will move at different rates. So overlapping says that your hands are moving at a different rate as compared to your head. Your hairs will be moving at a different rate as compared to your clothes. So if the dog is running and the dog suddenly stops, the ear will probably continue moving for some time and the tail will also be continue moving for some time. But the timing of ear and tail is going to be different, or the speed of ear and tail is going to be different. So follow through says that different parts of the body will continue moving after the character has stopped. Overlapping action says that if a character is changing the direction, then the body parts will continue moving in the previous direction because their speeds and everything are going to be different. Now we go ahead to our sixth principle, that is slow in, slow out, also called as ease in, ease out. Now what happens is, if you start a car, you directly don't start it at 100 kilometers per hour. You first start it slowly and then you slowly get to a speed. So this is called as ease out or slow out. Now similarly, while coming to a stop, you don't stop in at a single go. You don't press a brake dhad karke. Okay. You slowly start reducing the speed and then slowly you stop. So that is called as slow in or ease in. So ease in or slow in or ease out and slow out is something where the objects are going to change the speed in a controlled manner. They are not going to move at a single speed, or they are not going to suddenly go to a very fast speed or suddenly stop. So, for example, if you are, you are throwing a ball, then the gravity is going to play the role in slow in and slow out. As the ball is going to get closer to the ground, the gravity will do its job and the speed will increase. As you reach the top of the arc, slowly the speed decreases and then the ball starts falling down. One thing you need to understand is, every time slow in and slow out is not going to happen. Sometimes only slow in will be there. Sometimes only slow out will be there. Just as someone is getting ready to sneeze, slow out will be there without slowing in. The car is, coming from a very far away distance and it is at a great speed and it passes you. So it literally whizzes by you. So there is a slow in, but there is no slow out. So this is the principle of slow in and slow out. We go to the next principle, which is called as arcs. Again, this principle is very simple because naturally our movements are not mechanically straight. So whenever you are depicting any living beings, any humans, you have to understand that any trajectory they are going to have will be a curved trajectory and not a straight trajectory. Obviously, the speed and timing of the arc is very important. So, depending upon the kind of the object or the nature of the object, the angles, the curvature of the arc is going to change. But unless and until your animation is about robots or mechanical devices, you should incorporate arcs in the animation because natural motions, natural movements happen along the curve path and not a straight line. So that is about arcs. Next we go to something that is called as secondary action. Secondary action says that it is something that is complementary and supplementary to the main action. So it adds more dimension to the character. So secondary action is not a primary action. It is an action that results from another action. Facial expressions can be considered as secondary action. Movement of the ball that has been kicked by someone is considered as a secondary action. So for example, there's a bull with a ring in the nose. So as the bull is moving, the ring is also moving. Now ring is an independent object, but its movement is related to the bull's face. So you have to understand that the secondary action is there to give some inputs, some complementary things to the first action, which is your primary action. So consider a simple thing, there's a princess who is, turning round and round and round. Her frock or her gown will also turn along with her. So frock is an independent object, but its motion is related to the motion of that princess. So it becomes a secondary action. Now you have something which is called as timing and spacing as our next type of animation. It says that how much you want to show in your animation. For example, you want to show two objects whose weights are different. How will you show that? The object which is heavy will move slowly. The object which is lightweight will move very fast. So when you want to show a very quick transition, you will show fewer frames. You want to show a very slow transition, you will show more frames, because slowly the object is changing. So if the weight of the object is light, there will be less resistance. If the weight of the object is more, there will be more resistance. So कभी कभी टाइमिंग्स फिजिक्स से रिलेटेड होता है, कभी कभी टाइमिंग्स मूड से रिलेटेड होता है. फॉर एग्जाम्पल समवन इज वेरी सैड, दे विल वॉक वेरी स्लोली. समवन इज वेरी हैप्पी, दे विल बी वेरी ग्लोइंग एंड दे विल वॉक वेरी फास्ट. सो speed or timing can not only show the laws of physics, they can also imply some emotions. You can see the example over here. When you want that the ball is going very fast, there are very few frames in between. When you want to show that the ball is going slowly, the weight of the ball is more, so the movement of the ball is slower because of the heaviness. Then you want it to last for 3 seconds, so there are more frames in between. The next principle of animation which is widely used is exaggeration. Exaggeration, is all about making the things bigger, bolder and brighter. So you increase the readability of emotions and actions. Obviously, exaggeration is all about, imagination. जो रियल लाइफ में शायद से नहीं भी होगा, वो आप कार्टून्स में दिखाते हो. So when a stone falls or when a ball falls, it is just going to hit the ground and sit there, but you are showing that it is going to blast like as if it was a bomb. So exaggeration बहुत सारी चीज़ों के लिए हो सकता है. वो facial features के लिए हो सकता है, body types के लिए हो सकता है, expressions के लिए हो सकता है, character के movements के लिए हो सकता है. So exaggeration is an excellent tool that the animator can use to increase the appeal of the character and enhance the entire storytelling experience. And exaggeration थोड़ा non-realistic side में भी जा सकता है, but it does look cute or it does look good. Now we go to the next one, that is solid drawing or a 3D effect. You just do a drawing or you just do something to show that the object is not in 2D. So you give it a third dimensional, you give it some weight, you give it some depth, and you create an illusion of a 3D object. Now to draw a 3D object, the animator should understand the basis of the anatomy, the composition, the weight, the balance, the light as well as shadow. So you can see certain examples. This is a typical character of Winnie the Pooh, and you can see how third dimensional is added to that character and how it enhances it. Now we slowly come to the last principle that we have, that is the appeal. Appeal is basically making the character engaging, interesting, real. They should have some charismatic effect to them. And it even applies to, to the villains of the story. So, ऐसा नहीं है कि appeal only, is is for the main hero or the heroine of the story. No, it is also for the villains. So how can you increase the appeal? You can give some disproportionate characteristics to your characters. Many a times the flaws that the characters have is also a good thing. So you can see the ratio of the ears of Mickey Mouse and the face of Mickey Mouse. You can see the ears are really big. So many a times asymmetrical faces or big eyes or big ears or the color or the texture, every of these concepts, they play a huge role in creating an appeal. You can see certain examples over here. So that's it for this particular section. So these were the 12 principles of animation, a really easy topic. Thank you.